This is the newsroom for today, Wednesday, March 31, 2021. We're broadcasting to you on E1, Scar TV, NTN, and Tarzi TV in Bartica. In the headlines, two sisters are in a traumatized state and are fearful for their lives after they were burnt and brutally beaten by a Linden man.
Yes, we need justice. We need as much as we could get. We need everything that could come out of this. We need it.
The Guyana Police Force has issued a wanted bulletin for a West Coast Berbice man who allegedly murdered his neighbor. Foreign Secretary Robert Posada is urging Guyanese businesses to do more than exporting coconuts to the Dominican Republic. The Textile American University launches a free CXC platform, and in sport, the CEO of Cricket West Indies, Johnny Grave, says the image of West Indies cricket has been damaged following the adjournment of the election. With the news, I'm Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for joining us. We started by telling you that two sisters, 21-year-old Manisha Singh and 18-year-old Sunita Singh, are now in a traumatized state and are fearful for their lives after they were brutally beaten and burnt, allegedly by Manisha's ex-lover, Rajan Allen. An older sister, Amanda Singh, spoke with Newsroom's Isabella Patwa via telephone on Wednesday and explained what occurred.
While visiting her children on Monday last at her ex-lover's Block 22 Wismar Linden house, 21-year-old Manisha Singh and her sister Sunita was severely beaten. Another sister, Amanda, explained that her sisters had just returned to the house after taking the children for ice cream when the suspect, 30-year-old Rajan Allen, launched the gruesome attack. Amanda believes it was premeditated. Amanda told the newsroom on Wednesday that Manisha and Allen have 3 young children together, ages 5, 4, and 18 months. She claimed that Manisha ended the relationship with Allen 4 months ago after years of abuse.
Manisha was 21-year-old. She has the 3 children. And Sunita was 18-year-old. She went along with her because this man that beat me sister up, they left for like 4 months. It's just like visitation she went on to check the children at his place. He, after the abuse of life, she leaves, so he ended up bullied to get a child. So she never really got to the law for it, but she got no other probation story and reports and lockup and so he had years before this happened.
Prior to the beating, Amanda said that her younger sister Sunita was outside waiting while Manisha said her goodbyes to the children. According to a police report, Allen and Manisha were involved in an argument after she reportedly refused to give him the password to her cell phone.
But she didn't have the phone. The bag that the phone went in was the next sister had the phone, and she was already stand out by the road waiting on Manisha to come out so they could leave. But he blocked the door, and Manisha feel the knife inside the waist. So she tells me next sister, let she go along, that she coming just now. She didn't want to raise any alarm because she don't know the arm and so. And he called back the next sister in until she comes half a night. Just need to call me out and leave just now. So she didn't know. She take the cars, they went on, carry the children to buy ice cream and they bring back the children. So they didn't know nobody had a problem. So when Sunita come back close to the door where he could have reach, he grabs her and pushes her through the door inside the house and throw the mug with the water on she. And Manisha get to run out while he doing that. He run behind Manisha and he start beating she in the yard. Then when he finish with she in the yard, he go back inside the house and continue beating the next sister, saying that Sunita encouraging Manisha and what is the phone password, which she didn't even know it because she said she didn't know she would have given it for at least stop beating she. And she said even stop till she should be beat till she pass out and she catch herself when people come and rescue she.
The sisters are now left in a traumatized state and remain hospitalized. Amanda further claimed that numerous reports were made in the past to the police by her sister relating to Allen and his abuse.
She is the one with the atelier, the fracture skull and internal bleeding, and the break took place on her foot. So need to get the burn on her face and shoulder, neck, and her head both. Yes, we need justice. We need as much as we could get. We need everything that could come out of this. We need it. We don't want this to go down.
Meanwhile, police said at about 3:10 hours on Tuesday, Allen turned himself in at the Mackenzie police station. I am Isabella Patwa. Back to you, Avinash.
Now, the Guyana Police Force has issued a wanted bulletin for 24-year-old Mark Anthony Henry, for questioning in relation to the murder of 68-year-old Suraj Deochan, known as Sarji, who was found in a pool of blood inside his No. 3 village, West Coast Berbice house on Tuesday afternoon. Henry's last known address is Lot 32 South Public Road, West Coast Berbice. Anyone with information that may lead to the arrest of Mark Anthony Henry is asked to contact the nearest police station. Police headquarters in a statement had noted that a pensioner was found with chop wounds to his left side face, the back of his head, and his left arm, while 3 of his fingers were severed on his right hand. Deochan lived alone in a 2-story wooden house in an unfenced yard. And police are investigating the armed robbery of a West Bank Demerara businessman who was forced to hand over $2,380,000 to 2 bandits who apparently traced him on Tuesday night. Police headquarters in a statement noted that businessman who owns 2 Superbet outlets and manages 5 others, all on the West Bank of Demerara, had just pulled up in front of his house in his car after he had visited all of his outlets and collected a day's earnings when he was accosted by 2 bandits. Police said both bandits were wearing black jerseys and dark-colored pants. One of them placed a handgun to his abdomen and the other placed a handgun to his head, demanding the money. According to the police, one of the bandits then entered the businessman's vehicle and retrieved the 2 bags containing the cash and a bunch of keys, while the other bandit took away the victim's A20 Samsung cellular phone, his car and house keys, and made good their escape in a black wagon car. The robbery occurred at around 22 hours 25. Investigations are ongoing. Now, Guyana's private sector came together on Wednesday for a virtual educational session on the 1998 CARICOM Dominican Republic Free Trade Agreement, to which Guyana became a party in 2004. But a major concern for Guyanese authorities is that although the agreement is reciprocal between DR and the participating countries, there remains a great imbalance in exports leaving Guyana for the Dominican Republic. Kurt Campbell reports.
With the CARICOM Dominican Republic Free Trade Agreement offering great access to the market of the DR, with over 8 million consumers there, Foreign Secretary Robert Prasad urged Guyanese businesses to first understand the agreement, and once that is done, they must tap into the provisions. The urging came as the private sector, in collaboration with the government and the CARICOM Secretariat, hosted Series 3 of the ongoing virtual trade seminar, which started in November 2020, to help businesses understand Guyana's trade agreement with bilateral and multilateral partners. With a focus on CARICOM Dominican Republic Agreement, Prasad pointed out that although the provisions have been available to Guyanese exporters for well over a decade, the opportunities have not been fully explored. He said there is a lack in exports to the Dominican Republic and other countries, with Guyana having trade agreements with less than 1% of exports going to the DR. Those exports are mainly coconuts, to which Prasad said that much more needs to be done in this regard. Some 78% of coconut exports from Guyana are to the DR.
We see that great imbalance in many of these agreements, whereby we have been very much and severely lacking for a number of reasons in ramping up our exports to these countries with which we enjoy trade agreements. Further, our trade dependence with the Dominican Republic is less than 1%, and very minuscule. The majority of Guyana's export to the DR consists of one product over the past decade and a half, and that has been coconuts. And I'm quite sure we can all recognize that there's much more we can do in this regard.
Similar sentiments were expressed by Chairman of the Trade and Investment Subcommittee of the Private Sector Commission, Ramesh Duku.
We must always recognize who we are and where we are. We're not an extremely developed private sector here in Guyana. At the same time, we must not go out there asking for peanuts. We have the ability to be like anyone else and to use these platforms to grow our businesses in Guyana. It is important that we continue to adhere as a private sector to the rules of the game and not break those rules.
Duku is also hopeful that through these sessions, the regional private sector bodies can break down many of the barriers to trade in the entire Caribbean. He underscored the need for technical leadership and support and urged businesses to also ensure that they adhere to the rules of the game and not break those rules. The session on Wednesday saw presentations, the first coming from Deputy Program Manager of the CARICOM Secretariat, David Lord, who examined, among other things, the existing difficulties with trade in the region and more specifically specifically the DR and specifics of duty-free trade. Presentations also came from Foreign Service Officer Cindy Saucers, who provided statistics on Guyana's exports to the Dominican Republic. Although not extensive, imports from the Dominican Republic includes coconut, fish, and wood. This, she said, although can be improved, has seen enhancement in recent years. She said there are opportunities for exports of a variety of fruits and vegetables and other value-added products. For the newsroom, Kurt Campbell.
When the newsroom returns, the Texila American University launches a free CXC platform, and the GRA and a businessman butt heads over the classification of a Land Cruiser. This is the newsroom. President Irfan Ali has promised the business community a tsunami of opportunities and charged them to put systems in place to reap the benefits. Dr. Ali made this statement while delivering the feature address at the virtual 131st Annual General Meeting of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry on Tuesday. Here's Kurt Campbell with the details.
President Irfan Ali on Tuesday said the government sees the need for a thriving private sector and intends to continue dismantling barriers that impede business development. This will be done whilst creating an enabling environment to enhance the ease of doing business, the head of state assured. Addressing the virtual 131st Annual General Meeting of the Georgetown Chamber of Commerce and Industry, the president was adamant that despite these initiatives, without innovation, cooperation, and ambitious undertaking from businesses at all levels, the full effects of private sector development would not be reached. He pointed out that local businesses have an opportunity to turn the tide and to aid the country's overall development by promoting employment and modernization.
These plans include the development of an energy corridor linking the Guyanas, the construction of mega infrastructural projects, shore-to-base facility, and the development of an industrial heartland on the west bank of Demerara. These and other transformative developments, which are being unleashed at present, will spawn greater economic opportunities for industry and commerce. The local business class must begin to position itself to become part of the national economic transformational revolution. It must put itself in a state of readiness.
To aid business development, the president promised to remove the obstructing barriers.
As I have alluded to on many occasions, economic transformation demands a new mindset. The private sector must begin to think bigger, bolder, braver, and brainier. In other words, it must become more ambitious, less risk-averse, and more innovative.
Another part of the development plan will be the implementation of an electronic single window for trade system that is aimed at reducing time and costs, simplifying trade procedures, and eliminating duplication and unnecessary redundancy. The head of state said he has already discussed with the mayor of Georgetown, Pandit Yuvraj Narain, the development of a similar system that will allow for the processing of building permits and plans. The president explained that the government has also recognized the harmful effects of crime on the business community and is formulating a robust anti-crime strategy to better protect businesses, communities, and citizens. Additionally, the president also called for a better relationship between the private sector and the media and less suspicion and more positive development between Guyanese, since the future would improve and enhance the lives of all.
Now, Texila American University and Smart Labs, in partnership with the Ministry of Education, has launched its CXC Academy, a digital education tool designed to assist students writing the Caribbean Secondary Education Certificate exams during the COVID-19 pandemic and beyond. Isnel Patwa reports.
The CXC Academy functions as a supplementary and structured practice tool for TCX students writing exams this year. The platform, which was launched by Texila American University on Wednesday in collaboration with the Ministry of Education, can be accessed by students in Guyana and throughout the Caribbean region free of cost. The platform comprises an extensive database of TCX examination questions for 7 subject areas: English, mathematics, chemistry, biology, principles of business, and accounts. The material was designed by trained teachers in the Caribbean region, and it is also based on the TCX syllabus for each subject. Chief Executive Officer at the university, Sham Kumar, during brief remarks, said the platform is part of giving back to society.
CXC Academy, in essence, is a way of us thanking the people and government of Guyana for all the support that was rendered to us over the years. We believe in giving back to the society, and this is one step towards achieving that goal of being a social partner for the government and university team of Guyana. We have further plans to enhance the portfolio and add more subjects and more questions over a period of time to the Academy. We are really excited about this opportunity, and I sincerely hope this initiative will pave way for further technological advancement in the field of education in Guyana.
Minister of Education Priya Manikchand noted that this has been a challenging time for students and commended TechSilla for paving the way to assist students during this time.
And so today I want to say with clarity and without reservation that TechSilla is leading in this. TechSilla has come to Guyana and has pioneered offshore teaching and has moved from a small university that received attention to a university that is noted not only in our country but in many other countries. And we see you again leading the way here in responding to a worldwide crisis, not only for students in Guyana, but students across the region. And because it's online, students wider afield.
Meanwhile, the platform also offers a revision period for students, after which the students can take mock examinations to test their understanding and competency of subtopics. Students can register with CXC Academy by visiting its official website at cxc.academy. Meanwhile, teachers can sign up and access resources, while schools can also register with CXC Academy by visiting the website. Reporting for the newsroom, I am Esanelo Patwo.
Now, by the end of this week, Exxon Mobil is expected to significantly reduce its current levels of flaring with the reinstallation and startup of the repaired flash gas compressor. It comes 1 month after the compressor failed, forcing the oil giant to increase flaring, which sparked a national debate on flaring. Kurt Campbell joins us now.
Exxon Mobil Guyana on Tuesday announced that teams of experts are making final preparations for the startup of the flash gas compressor sometime this week on the Laser Destiny floating production, storage and offloading vessel, FPSO. This is in keeping with the company's promise to stick to an 8 weeks resolution by the end of March 2021. The compressor, once installed, will return operations to normalcy and reduce the current levels of flaring being done, restoring it to background levels. With safety top of mind, the team offshore has been carefully and methodically reassembling the various components of the gas compression system, and they're now running key instrumentation tests for a successful startup, a statement from the company noted. Several mechanical tests were done to the compressor after its repair, and both Exxon Mobil and the engineers in Germany, where it was sent, have accepted the test results. The compressor failed on the night of January 27, 2021, and Exxon Mobil had subsequently announced that it had reduced production. At the time, the oil giant was reportedly producing 130 barrels of oil per day, 10,000 barrels above what has always been stated as the maximum production, 120,000 barrels of oil per day. The company assured in its latest statement that throughout this period, it has sought to strike a balance between safety, maintaining production, while minimizing flaring. In addition, Exxon Mobil said that while the issues with this equipment have been disappointing and the COVID-19 circumstances have been challenging, they are committed to applying the lessons learned to improve the performance of its ongoing operations as well as future projects. The company said previously it had been an extremely frustrating period since the faulty compressor was removed and sent abroad for repairs. Exxon had always maintained it was unhappy and dissatisfied with the current flaring. The company continues to produce oil at 120,000 barrels per day and said flaring is maintained as low as possible. The current daily levels are between 16 to 18 million cubic feet. But the government is still to verify Exxon Mobil's report on flaring and its production levels, although the Ministry of Natural Resources has been receiving daily production reports from the oil major. That report offers details on oil production, water and gas production, and total water and gas reinjection.
Noting reports of elderly persons being turned away at COVID-19 vaccination sites as Guyana begins vaccination of persons 40 years and over, Health Minister Dr. Frank Anthony clarified that the elderly and frontline healthcare workers can still be immunized. Since the country began its vaccination campaign in early February, over 32,000 persons have been vaccinated so far.
So right now, as we are at 40 years and above, right, and I want people to pay close attention to that, because I've received reports that people are coming to the center, and if you're, say, 60 or you're 80 I've had a few reports where they're being turned back. The thing is, if you are 40 years and above, so whether you're 60, 70, 80, 90, whatever it is, once you're above 40, then it's okay for you to come and get your vaccine.
We tell you now that slapped with a lawsuit over the recent classification of a Land Cruiser as a passenger vehicle, the Guyana Revenue Authority GRA said on Wednesday that it stands by its position and will defend the same when the matter comes up in the High Court on April 22, 2021. Kurt Campbell reports.
Speaking to the newsroom by telephone on Wednesday, Comptroller of Customs, Excise and Trade Operations Rohan Biku offered clarity on the issue of vehicle classification, which has since made headlines and is now attracting public commentary. Auto dealer and businessman Mohammed Shah Jahan has sued the Guyana Revenue Authority over claims that his imported 2020 Toyota Land Cruiser has been wrongly classified as a passenger vehicle, although, according to him, it is a goods vehicle. Biku, who said that the matter has already been handled through a robust internal system at the GRA, challenged this position. He said although the businessman has declared the vehicle as a goods-carrying vehicle, GRA's Central Processing Unit and the authority's Harmonized System Clarification Committee, after extensive deliberations, have both determined that the vehicle is in fact a passenger vehicle. Biku said although he recognizes the businessman's right to challenge the classification, GRA stands by this judgment.
The Guyana Revenue Authority will defend our position. Actually, what we have a customs tariff tribunal that usually operates for these kind of disputes and so on, where importers or brokers or whoever, if they feel that they do not agree with the classification of customs of the Guyana Revenue Authority, then they would make representation there.
Biku explained that there is a legally constituted customs tariff tribunal that usually handles these disputes as an intermediary between GRA and the court. And while the importer or broker would usually have to make an application to this tribunal, the body is currently not functional. Biku pointed out that the vehicle classification also needs to conform to the harmonized international standards set by the World Customs Organization. He said, according to those rules which deal with the principal design of vehicles, it has again found itself in the category of a passenger vehicle. He pointed out that despite modifications or how a vehicle was registered in a previous country, Guyana will have to deal with the principal design except when there is a domestic policy that dictates otherwise. He reminded of the previous policy, which has since been shelved, to allow certain vehicles to be used as goods-carrying vehicles or after modification, although not principally designed to be one.
Yes, some modification would have had to be done. The front had to have been sealed up from the back, paneled. The windows and everything, they had to panel it up, seal it all along so that nothing can open and all of these others. It had to be then just strictly for cargo at the back, in addition to the two seats in front.
Right.
Those were the modifications that they would have had to obtain what we call a CG letter to clear it as a van, subject to the modifications in that letter.
The businessman is contending that because of the alleged misclassification, the vehicle now attracts taxes amounting to $14 million, while if otherwise classified as a goods vehicle, it will attract taxes under $2 million. To this end, Biku said he understands that the issue is also one about tax, but he pointed out that the GRA is also conscious of attempts by persons to get away with paying lower taxes by modifying vehicles prior to registration. The imported vehicle, which arrived in Guyana in December 2020, only has 2 seats, 2 doors, 2 ventilating windows, a flatbed cargo area to the rear, and a barrier between the cargo area and the driver's area. According to the application before Chief Justice Roxanne George, Jahan, through his attorney Sinad Dujon, wants a declaration that the vehicle is a commercial utility vehicle, maintaining that it is exclusively qualified to be a goods vehicle.
Guyana imports 48 COVID-19 cases since reopening its airports. This is the newsroom. The community of Baramita in Barimo-Waini Region 1 recently benefited from a $15 million investment for internet hubs and projects to generate finance. This announcement was made during a visit to the community on Tuesday by the Minister of Amerindian Affairs, Pauline Sukai. Sheena Henry tells us more.
Minister of Amerindian Affairs, Pauline Sukai, said that the $15 million grant is for the village to ensure that a facility of a high-level internet hub is done, as well as investing in projects that will generate income.
So that the village council, in addition to the resources that they are receiving as royalties and rents and all the other fees that they charge, that they can then be able to have a revolving project that has continuous inflow into the village funds.
The minister added that the cash grant is not a standalone grant, as every Amerindian village will annually receive a presidential cash grant to do a social or productive project of their choice.
And therefore, our government continue to not only want to support the resolution of the problems of the village, but also to enhance and to support its development.
Sukai reiterated the commitment of the resuscitation of the Community Support Officer Program, which will facilitate the rollout of the government's Information Communication Technology Program in 200 communities over the next 2 years.
Activities so that they will be able, as they live in their community, to give back to their community and also to gain some experience through the office of the Tushao, or the office of the village council, and all the areas that they will be engaged in.
For the newsroom, I am Sheena Henry.
Since the reopening of the Chadijagan International Airport and the Eugene F. Correa International Airport on October 12, 2020, there have been 48 recorded imported cases of COVID-19, the Minister of Health, Dr. Frank Anthony, revealed on Wednesday. Dr. Anthony, who was speaking during his daily COVID-19 update, said that no imported cases were reported since the resumption of the ferry service between Mulson Creek on quarantine and South Drain, Suriname on February 21, 2021.
Well, so far we have about 48 cases that were imported. But these cases, as you would realize, were detected as soon as they came in. Most of them we have detected at the two airports, the two international airports. That's the Chadijagan International Airport and the Eugene Correa Airport at Ogle. So we have, because of the protocols that we have, if someone exceeding 3 days, we do the retesting here, and actually when we did those retests, we have found that those persons were positive, and we have taken the relevant steps to isolate them. So since the reopening of the airports to international travel, we have detected 48 cases. Well, Suriname, that crossing so far, we haven't detected any because there's strict protocols on both sides. So if you're going over from Guyana, you require a PCR test, and then the Surinamese authority also would quarantine people. And coming back this way, you also require PCR testing. So I think so far, because of the way that we've been testing and allowing passengers, we haven't found any positive, and that's reassuring, I guess, to both countries.
Now, after being founded in 1971 by pharmaceutical chemist Shahid Feroz, well-known family drugstore Twins Manufacturing Chemists is celebrating 50 years of business. They commemorated the anniversary by giving back to various charities and non-profit organizations across Guyana. Sheena Henry reports.
The Guyana Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals, GSPCA, the Guyana Cancer Foundation, and the Guyana Society for the Blind were some among the 14 non-profit organizations that received donations to commemorate the 50th anniversary of Twins Manufacturing Chemists. Executive Manager Sadia Feroz explained that upon the business's opening, it was monotonous with the dispensing of tablets and prescription drugs and was regarded as one of the leading pharmacies in its time. Although when Shahid first started the business, things were not as easy.
And in his free time, he would experiment with compounding and mixing of formulas. Some of the first products he made were hydrogenol, disinfectants, essences, now the Flavormade brand, cold and cough syrups, the Tossudrol brand, is among other products. He bought a carrier bike and would ride from store to store selling his products.
Upon receiving positive feedback from customers regarding the quality products received, Feroz in 1971 started to look for a place to grow his business and was able to lease some land at Industrial Estate Rhine Belt, where today the establishment still stands.
Today, our product line ranges from patented medicines, cosmetics, household products, and recently sanitization products to combat the dreaded coronavirus, amongst other products. We are proud to say that we have almost 100 products that we manufacture locally, and this is an achievement in itself. It's a testament to our commitment to the development of this beautiful country, Guyana.
As the years passed, more relatives have returned to Guyana and have expanded the family business. It is their hope that the younger generation will move the business toward modernization and a state-of-the-art facility. Twins Manufacturing Chemists is the Caribbean's leading manufacturers of over-the-counter pharmaceuticals, cosmetics, flavoring essences, sauces, household cleaners, and insecticides. For the Newsroom, I am Sheena Henry.
When the Newsroom returns, the financial weather and bridge reports along with sports. Welcome back to Newsroom. Now for a look at what's happening in sport. We're starting off with some cricket news. West Indies made significant headway on a rain-affected third day of the second and final test against Sri Lanka in Antigua on Wednesday. Several overs were lost and Sri Lanka, resuming on 136 for 3, ended the day on 250 for 8, trailing West Indies' first innings score by 104 runs. Pathum Nissanka, who made a debut 100 in the first test, is unbeaten on 49, while Dinesh Chanderpaul made 44 and Dhananjaya De Silva scored 39. Lahiro Tarimani made 55 on day 2. Jason Holder 2 for 40 and Alzari Joseph 2 for 64 are the main wicket takers so far, while Kimar Roach, Shannon Gabriel, Kyle Mears and Jermaine Blackwood have one each. Weather permitting, play will start 30 minutes early on the final 2 days to make up for the overs lost on day 3. The first test ended in a draw. We tell you now that Johnny Grave, the Chief Executive Officer of Cricket West Indies, has expressed disappointment at the turn of events that led to an adjournment of the annual general meeting on Sunday. A lack of quorum following the absence of delegates from the Guyana Cricket Board and the Barbados Cricket Association meant that the AGM has been shifted to April 11. Grave, speaking on the Mason and Guest radio show in Barbados on Tuesday night, said the brand of West Indies cricket has taken a hit. According to a statement from Cricket West Indies, the AGM, which was due to start at 10 hours on March 28, was adjourned as there was a lack of quorum. The meeting, therefore, could not proceed to business as the CWI Articles of Association stipulate that 9 representatives of the full members need to be present in order to constitute a quorum. All 8 representatives duly authorized to represent the Jamaica Cricket Association, the Leeward Islands Cricket Board, the Trinidad and Tobago Cricket Board, and the Windward Islands Cricket Board were present. CWI noted that despite having previously authorized their representatives to attend, when the roll was called, there was no representatives present from the Guyana Cricket Board nor the Barbados Cricket Association. Notably, Anand Senasi of Guyana and his running mate Calvin Hope of Barbados have mounted a challenge to the incumbent Ricky Scarrett and his vice president, Dr. Kishore Shallow. In a subsequent statement, Vice President of the Guyana Cricket Board, Drew Bahadur, explained Guyana's non-attendance, citing numerous breaches of the CWI Articles of Association on financial matters and governance issues. He claimed that the GCB has written to the CWI Corporate Secretary on numerous occasions regarding the conduct of the AGM, especially as it relates to the financial matters, and the responses were unacceptable with adversarial views, noting that only shareholders can alter the Articles of Association. Grave, sharing his views on what transpired on March 28, expressed disappointment at the turn of events. He also delved into the financial status of Cricket West Indies.
As I said, it's I've been in the job 4 years, and Cricket West Indies never fails to surprise me. And in this case, it was extremely disappointing from where I sit, because I think as the chief executive of Cricket West Indies, our accounts have never been in a better state. We produced monthly management accounts every month, sent on or before the 15th of the following month. 2 of the shareholder members are on our ARC committee. in Trinidad and Tobago and Barbados Cricket Association. So they've had the monthly management accounts every month all year. We provided the audited financial statements more than 14 days before the AGM, with the consolidated final accounts being sent out to two of the shareholders on Thursday, because again, they're members of that ARC committee, and to the rest of the shareholders on Friday. So we also confirmed with both Barbados and Guyana that they received all of the Zoom details, the AGM pack, the audited statements on the Saturday, and no one said they weren't attending. So yeah, it's a very disappointing situation, but nonetheless, we will reconvene on the 11th, and hopefully we will complete the AGM and the election after that.
Grave was adamant that the marketability of West Indies cricket had been negatively impacted and the brand had been damaged.
I think very clearly that the reputation of this organisation in the eyes of the world is massively important to the brand of West Indies cricket, and I think we've made enormous progress over the last few years to repair that brand, not just globally, but actually within the region, to fans, in the way that we've not had really any major shocks and news on the field, and certainly less so off it of late. But the recent events definitely damaged the brand, and I and the rest of the executive have spent the last 48 hours speaking to sponsors, broadcasters, reassuring our stakeholders that the AGM will go forth on the 11th, and we really hope that it does, because all of this affects us.
Questioned on whether a similar situation occurs on April 11, that is, a lack of quorum, Grave had this to say.
Well, unfortunately, the articles, and we will follow the articles. People have asked us to follow the articles when it comes to the consolidated financial informations, and then not follow them when it comes to the election process. So we will follow the articles, because that's how we should be governed under good corporate governance. And unfortunately, the articles say that you have to continue to reconvene until you get a quorum, and a quorum is 9 of the shareholder representatives. So, we need at least 9 to have a quorum and for the AGM to take place. And there's no provision other than, I guess, going through the courts to force shareholders to attend.
Are you prepared to go that way if it becomes necessary?
I desperately hope it won't be necessary. I mean, why shareholders would take any action that, as I just said earlier, damages the brand of their company and damages the reputation is unfathomable to me. But I mean, as you say, I continue to be surprised and shocked by some of the actions. But it's, I very much hope, maybe naively, but I very much hope that the 11th will happen.
Now, a collective board decision will determine the potential support or non-support of the former Guyana Cricket Board Secretary Anand Sanasi, who is currently vying for the position of President of Cricket West Indies. That's the word of newly elected GCB President Bisundayal Singh after taking up the post on Monday.
On Sunday, Cricket West Indies were scheduled to have its annual general meeting and election of office bearers, but absence of Guyana Cricket Board and the Barbados Cricket Association for varying reasons prevented the required quorum. All the other territorial boards were in attendance. Those boards have also publicly stated their support for incumbent President Ricky Skerritt and Vice President Dr. Kishore Shallow. Former long-standing Secretary of the Guyana Cricket Board and CWI Director Anand Sanasi is challenging Skerritt for the CWI presidency. Singh was questioned on the stance this new GCB would take with regards to potential support or non-support of the Guyanese candidate, and ensuring the GCB attends their joint AGM on April 11th. The previous GCB and the BCA have pledged support for the Sanasi Calvin Hope ticket.
What I know is what I get from the press, and sometimes you get conflicting reports from different news agencies. So I'm not sure what's the current situation as it relates to why they did not attend and what may need to remedy the situation. But I will tell you that our board, when it comes to national patriotism, we are very, very much close to that. And so if somebody from Guyana, they're interested, I personally wouldn't see a problem.
Singh indicated that while he has no personal issue with the candidacy, the board will decide on the decision they take.
That is strictly a board's position. But as I said, our board is not one which will be singular in our decision. We are very open when it comes to national issues. And if it is a case that we may have to give consideration when it comes to nationality. We must consider it. And so there, as I said before, going forward, we don't have enemies. We don't want enemies. And if there are people who perceive us as enemies, sorry, we're friends. Let us work. We have to fix this thing. And we don't have all the ideas. We need help. I don't care what you come from. If you're going to offer something of substance, and it helps nationality and the national structure, and it can help develop our great land, that is where we're going. We have no issues at all with personalities. That is not our modus operandi at this time.
Singing Vice President Hilbert Foster will be the two new directors to CWI. It is understood that Senasi will still able to contest for the CWI presidency, even though he is no longer the GCP secretary. It is on the premise that his nomination was submitted in the prescribed time and was duly nominated by two boards. For the newsroom, Akim Green.
Now, Guyana's most prolific Test and ODI batsman, Shivnarine Chanderpaul, is keen in working with the new executives of the Guyana Cricket Board in helping to create a developmental pathway for the sport. More in this report. The 46-year-old Chanderpaul, a veteran of over 160 Test matches and over 260 ODIs, told Newsroom Sport on Tuesday that he is willing to serve Guyana's cricket and wished the Bisundayal Singh-led administration success in moving cricket forward in Guyana and the Caribbean. Singh was on Monday voted in as the new president unopposed when the elections were held in Georgetown. Chanderpaul, who is Guyana's leading run scorer in international cricket with 11,867 runs in Test matches and 8,778 in ODIs, said it is important the development of cricket takes center stage, indicating his support for the new batch of executives. He said, and I quote, "I just want to congratulate the new members of the board and wish them well in leading the effort to build Guyana's cricket. I am willing to give my support to that process." End quote. Chanderpaul is a current manager and assistant coach of the Guyana Jaguars, the country's senior national men's team. His last assignment was at the Colonial Medical Insurance Super 50 Cup in February. The Guyana Jaguars made it to the final of that tournament, losing to Trinidad and Tobago by 152 runs at the Coolidge Cricket Ground in Antigua. Still in cricket, former West Indies batting coach Toby Radford feels that since the West Indies Test batsmen have opted to spend more time at the crease, it has resulted in some level of consistency.
I think there's a determined approach to application and to bat time. There's no doubt. I mean, if you look, Bonner batted well over 200 balls yesterday, did the same in Bangladesh. Kyle Myers, that long innings in Bangladesh, getting 200. So they've clearly talked and worked on, and that's what Test batting is. You've got to bat for long periods of time. I mean, my biggest hero really is Shiv, and that was Shiv's great ability to bat for 5 or 6 hours and go again the following day. If you want to get runs in Test cricket, you have to soak up really tight spells of bowling where it's accurate and you're not scoring, but you've got to stick in there. So concentration, fitness, and the fitter you are, the better decisions you can make for longer, especially somewhere like the Caribbean where it's hot, and it's easy to get fatigue and make mistakes. But I think what they've shown, the West Indies in the last few games, Bangladesh and here, is a desire to bat a long period of time. And eventually the bowlers will tire, and that's when you cash in. And it looks like that's what happened on that, in that Test match in Bangladesh when they chased the huge 300 score. Eventually runs become easier to get because the bowlers will get tired. So it's who cracks first. I think it's mental discipline. Shot selection is better, and they're clearly being prepared. I'm going to stay at the crease. The longer I stay there, the easier it gets, the more runs I score in Test cricket. And that's the way to play it.
And finally, Survival Supermarket at the weekend hosted its third annual Pagua Golf Tournament, with Kasim Khan emerging champion at the Lusignan Golf Course. Khan, playing off a 7 handicap, recorded a gross 74 and net 67 to finish ahead of Chanella London, who had a gross of 80 and net 70, playing off a 10 handicap. Hilbert Shields, with a handicap of 13, finished third with gross 84 and net 71, while Vijay Deo, with a handicap of 11, ended fourth with gross 82 and net 71. The sponsor, Survival Supermarket, is one of the leading modern supermarkets in Guyana and has agreed to continue to support the game of golf in Guyana. And with that, we've come to the end of the news for this evening. Of course, you can find updates on these and other stories on our website, Newsroom.gy, our Facebook page and Instagram. On behalf of the entire news team, my name is Avinash Ramzan. Thanks for watching. Be safe. See you next time.